No boilerplate, no fluff, just a SwiftUI and a working calculator. This is the tutorial we'll be creating today. As you can see, it's a standard calculator that enables the user to use standard operations. So if I add two numbers together, 7 plus 2, as you can see, it creates a sum 9. Take away 4, it's 5. So yeah, these are the features we'll be creating in this tutorial that allows the user to do add, multiplication, subtraction and percentages using the calculator. And the calculator can be used in landscape or portrait orientation. Today we will fix some of the errors that we encountered in the previous tutorial, and then we will continue to implement our view model. As you can see on line 184, it's displaying an error message, cannot find pending operator. So let's go and fix that. Seems like the variable was named incorrectly. As you can see, it should be pending operator. So now just go down to lines 184. As you can see, that's now been fixed. And there's a few other errors as well. Let's start with the top error, or the first error, which is on line 61. So let's see what the problem is there. Within the tap plus minus function. So we need a semicolon there. So that one's fixed as well. And also on line 74, it's the same thing. Within the tap percentage function, or tap percent function, need a semicolon there. It cannot find current value. Current value, where should that be defined? For current value, probably we need to create a method for that. Yeah, we need to create a new method. So let's just create that anywhere after line 97. Private var current value double display question mark or 0. So what that will do, it will convert the display text to a number, or if it's invalid, it will just return 0. And that should be fixed now for the current value. But there's another issue on line 78, which is to do with the pending operator. It's spelled incorrectly, so that should be pending That's spelled incorrectly anyway. Let's go to the definition and try to refactor it. So that should be pending operator. So that should be correct now. On lines 84 within the tap percentage, there's another issue which is to do with the multiple using the case statement. Calc operate type. Calc operator has no member multiple. So let's just navigate back to the calc operator. So it's not called multiple, it's called multiply. And then compute if possible. It should be calling this function, compute if possible. I'll just save the changes. And then there's a missing signature for our parameter. So that should be, what should that be? Type that in again. So the values that we need to pass in to our compute if possible function includes the following. So we need to pass in the operator and the accumulator, and then RSH, which is right hand side. The results, it's nearly correct, but there shouldn't be an S at the end. It should just be result that we pass in. So we remove the S, so we pass the result to the set result function. Let's see if it compiles now. Use of unknown directive. Previews. This was must have been opened in another version of Xcode. So let's just ignore the preview for now. Or I'll pause the video and then reopen it in the other version of Xcode. I'll just pause it now. I'll reopen the project in Xcode 15. Let's compile it again. As you can see, it compiles. So the next function that we need to create is the apply function. No, not the apply one, we've done it already. So what other functions do we need to create? And we've done the clear label. Oh yes, I think that's all done there. It seems like it's correct. So what do we need to do now is we need to create another strut. And the purpose of this strut will enable our application to have the correct button style. So the button style that's needed for the actual calculator. Calc width or calc wide button style we can delete our preview. Let size CG size. Let BG color, which is background color. Let FG, which is foreground color. So that's the foreground color for the text. You can see the foreground color for the text will be white. And then you just type in func, make body. Oh yeah, also on lines 10, that should be button style. Configuration. And then we just return some view. The next thing we need to do is to define how the button will look. That should be configuration. And then we need padding, leading 22. That will push the text a little bit to the right. Frame, width, size, width, and height, size, height. Background color, opacity, configuration is pressed. Set it to 0.85. I'll set it to 1 for the opacity. So it will slightly dim when pressed. That's what will happen. Foreground color. That should be the foreground style. FG. Clip shape should be rounded, rectangle, corner radius, which which is 10, style, which is continuous, we have an overlay that will be rounded, rectangle, corner radius, and it should be corner radius, ten, style, continuous, stroke, color, black, opacity 0.25, and line width is 0.5. Cannot find corner radius, rounded rectangle. Oh, I know what that is. Let me start the colon. Now let's compile it. The next thing we need to do is to create an extension. So we need to create a new file, Swift file, name the file color plus extension, and type the following: public extension color. As you can see, we're extending the color. Static let, so we probably need to import SwiftUI. So static let calculator, is it calculator background equals color red 0.16 and green 0.15, blue 0.15. So what we're doing now, we're adding our own custom colors to SwiftUI built-in color type, and this will be used to style our calculator. So that's for the calculator's background, and for the display top of the calculator, we use display top as a static variable, and then we define our colors again. Red will be 0.32, green 0.18, and blue 0.5. So it will look similar to this. As in the colors. A static let display bottom color red 0.23, green 0.17, and then blue 0.16. Static let font key equals color red 0.33, green 0.26, blue is 0.24. And then static let num key dark equals color red 0.36. And then green is 0.36, and then blue 0.38, and static let num key equals color red 0.42, green 0.42, and then blue 0.44. So that's for the num key. And then the operator keys will be static operator orange, as you can see here. The operator keys are orange when they're not being pressed, but when they have been pressed, then they turn to white. Equals color red, green 0.62, and blue 0.04. And that should be let. Now let's just compile it. Compiled. So what else do we need to do for today? We need to add what we need to do is to add another extension, and this is for our text. So this extension will be called text plus extension, and it's a new Swift file. So that'll be text plus extension. Public. We need to import SwiftUI. Import SwiftUI. Public extension. Text. Bar. Calc. Key font. Text, which is a computed property. And the purpose of this extension is to apply a consistent font style to the calculator keys. Self.font system size is 34, and it should be 34, and the weight will be regular. So each key will have a size of 34, and the weight will be like regular for each of these keys, for each of these buttons. They all have the same font and the same size. So the next thing we can try to implement now is the calculator view. So within our content view, we need to rename that file to be calculator view. Calculator view, and then within our calculator app file, just rename it to the calculator it should be calculator view. How come it's not coming up? Oh, because I need to rename the content view as well. Yeah, so the content view struct needs to be renamed, the calculator view, and also with the preview calculator view. Now we can go back into the app file and it will now be okay. Let's compile it just to make sure. So now let's implement some of the functions within our view so that our view will be the main way how the user will interact with the calculator. First thing we need to do is gain access to our view model. So we use a @state object. The reason for using @state object is so that all the updates will be reflected on our calculator view. So we create a new instance of the calculator view model. And then on line 15, we can delete the V stack and everything else. And then we need to use a geometry reader. The purpose of using a geometry reader, it makes the UI more flexible. So the UI will grow to the size of the actual iPhone or iPad device. That's the advantage. Let is landscape. To be landscape equals geo size dot width is more than geo size dot height. So what that does, it checks if the device is wider than taller. And then we create our Z-stack color dot calculator background, ignore safe area to see if it gets refreshed on the preview. Just taking a bit of time to refresh. Yeah, the preview is a bit slow. So let me just compile it anyway. So in next week's tutorial, we will continue with the calculator view and implement more of the features and the functionality.